This is an MJA Inc. Investigations warning. This MJA podcast is rated E for explicit. Some details of a case and language used on this podcast might be upsetting to some of our listeners. Listeners' discretion is advised. And for those who are still with us, kick back and enjoy the show. Welcome to our MJ podcast. This series, Deep into the Woods, Episode 16, Part 4, 12 Missing Person Cold Cases. There are 3 amazing websites for information on missing people and unidentified remains. Those websites are NamUs, the Doe Network, and the Charley Project. NamUs is a U.S. government website that helps investigators match long-term missing persons with unidentified remains to resolve cases and bring resolution to the victim's family. The NCIC statistics for missing people number over 600,000 a year. There are many missing children and adults that are quickly found alive and well. However, tens of thousands of individuals remain missing. In today's world, it has become an epidemic, and some cases don't even make it in the media. As a nation, we have to do a lot better to solve these missing person cold cases. They have vanished without a trace. One minute they are there, and the next moment they are gone. MJA has done reenactments on abduction cases with good results. In one case, the perp had only 80 seconds to abduct the child and get completely away without being seen. Just think about it for a moment. 1 minute and 20 seconds. Just 80 seconds. That's all it takes, and the victim is gone. It's a family's worst nightmare is when one of their loved ones disappears without a trace. Please join us as we go deep into the woods to find answers for these missing person cold cases. Good evening. My name is Mark, and I will be your host for tonight's show. Joining me later will be our co-host, Olivia. Olivia and I will profile 12 missing person cold cases. We are coming to you from Winter's Paradise, located in Hudson, Florida. Welcome to 12 Missing Person Cold Cases. Case 1. It was on August 20th, 1994 is when 46-year-old Gene Andrew Payne, a white male, disappeared without a trace from Tucson, Arizona. Case 2. It was on September 4th, 1977 is when 31-year-old Patsy Ann Ravens, a white female, disappeared and vanished without a trace from Phoenix, Arizona. Case 3. It was on December 5th, 1979 is when 19-year-old Tom Ray Starkle, a white male, disappeared without a trace from Palmdale, California. Case 4. It was on May 24th, 1977 is when 21-year-old Kimberly Ann Stewart, a white female, disappeared and vanished without a trace from Sheridan, California. Case 5. It was on July 24th, 1981 is when 18-year-old John Truscott Haynes, a white male, disappeared without a trace from Nederland, Colorado. Case 6. It was on June 8th, 1990 is when 24-year-old Lori Renee Lucas, a white female, disappeared and vanished without a trace from Aurora, Colorado. Case 7. It was on September 24th, 1988 is when 21-year-old Brian Neal Hooks, a white male, disappeared without a trace from Florence, South Carolina. Case 8. It was on May 20th, 2005 is when 32-year-old Brandy Renee Hanna, a white female, disappeared and vanished without a trace from Charleston, South Carolina. Case 9. It was on March 10th, 1998 is when 18-year-old Nicholas J. Foster, a white male, disappeared without a trace from Brattleboro, Vermont. Case 10. It was on March 15th, 1976, is when 27-year-old Iris Leslie Brown, a white female, disappeared and vanished without a trace from Burlington, Vermont. Case 11. It was on January 17th, 1999, is when 23-year-old Jason Scott Atkins, a white male, disappeared without a trace from Huntington, West Virginia. Case 12. It was on November 4th, 1997, is when 24-year-old Lisa Ann Krause, a white female, disappeared and vanished without a trace from Romney, West Virginia. Let's take a pause for the cause, and when we return, Olivia will be on the line. Olivia and I will profile 12 missing person cold cases. Be back in a moment.
Searching in the dark, trusting every clue I found. But the truth has not been told, 'cause every corner of these woods is hollow. I can't see in the dark.
Welcome to our MJ podcast, the series Deep into the Woods, episode 16, part 4, 12 missing person cold cases. We have Olivia on the line. How are you doing on this fine evening?
Doing good.
Are you ready to dig into these cold cases?
Yes, I am.
Welcome to Arizona. The Doe Network has 78 males and 55 females listed as being missing from the state of Arizona. Case 1. Welcome to Tucson, Arizona. Missing male. It was on August 20th, 1994, is when 46-year-old Gene Andrew Payne, a white male, disappeared without a trace from Tucson, Arizona. The 46-year-old Payne was last seen on that day at his home. Gene Payne lived in a mobile home with his wife and 14-year-old son. The 46-year-old Payne was last seen leaving his house at around 7 a.m. to feed his livestock and walking a short distance to his mother's to feed her livestock as well. The 46-year-old Payne may have left his mother's property walking. But Gene Payne was disabled and unable to work or walk for more than 10 minutes at a time before he would have to take a break. The 46-year-old Payne couldn't have walked too far. When Gene Payne did not return after feeding the livestock, his family started searching. When the search and phone calls didn't locate Payne, his family called the sheriff's department. Despite several searches by law enforcement with Payne's family members and friends, no trace of 46-year-old Gene Payne was ever found. The case remains unsolved. If you have any info concerning this case, please call the Pima County Sheriff's Department at 520-351-6245.
Case 2. Welcome to Phoenix, Arizona. Missing female. It's on September 4th, 1977, 31-year-old Patsy Ann Ravens a white female disappeared and vanished without a trace from Phoenix, Arizona. It was around 10:30 p.m. on that day when 31-year-old Ravens was last seen at her parents' home in Phoenix, Arizona. At around 5 a.m. on September 5th, 1977, when Ravens' relatives woke up, they found the 31-year-old Ravens and her vehicle missing. A missing persons report was filed on September 11th, 1977. It has been since July 9th, 1977, that the 31-year-old Ravens had been staying with her parents. Ravens was recently divorced, and her ex-husband had custody of their little boy. The 31-year-old Ravens had no close friends and spent a lot of time in her room. In the year before Ravens' disappearance, the 31-year-old Ravens had become involved in the Mormon church. On the night Ravens disappeared, she went to the church and returned home at around 9:45 p.m. That's when the 31-year-old Ravens ate and went to bed. Patsy Ravens' mother told police it was a normal night and that her daughter didn't mention anything odd that happened. The family was planning a picnic the next day, and when they learned that Ravens wasn't there, they found a note in Ravens' room. The note read, "God called me to do his work, so I must leave." The 31-year-old Ravens' mother told police that her daughter had talked about going to Utah to work. None of Ravens' clothes were missing. 31-year-old Patsy Ravens took about $35 in cash but left behind a $162 unemployment check. Patsy Ravens' vehicle, a white 1965 Rambler, was found later at the Sunset Point Lookout near Prescott, Arizona. Inside the car was an undeveloped cartridge of film and a map that appeared to trace a route from Phoenix possibly to Utah. 31-year-old Patsy Ravens' mother didn't recognize anything in the photos. In December 1977, Ravens' purse was found near Sunset Point north of Phoenix. The cash was missing, but the purse held medication and a temporary driver's license and the car keys. The case remains unsolved. If you have any info concerning this case, please call the Phoenix Police Department at 602-262-6151.
Welcome to California. The Doe Network has 706 males and 466 females listed as being missing from the state of California. Case 3. Welcome to Palmdale, California. Missing male. It was on December 5th, 1979 is when 19-year-old Tom Ray Starkle, a white male, disappeared without a trace from Palmdale, California. At around 10 p.m. on the evening of December 5th, 1979, the 19-year-old Starkle was last seen leaving his girlfriend's home. Evidence shows that the 19-year-old Tom Ray Starkle arrived at his apartment that night, but investigators didn't go into details of what evidence that might be that suggested that he arrived home. The 19-year-old Starkle's car was recovered 2 weeks later with another driver. The car was pulled over coming back into California from Nevada. In the car, the police found under the driver's seat a handgun that had been recently fired. In the trunk of the car was Tom Starkle's jacket. The pink slip to the car had been signed over by Tom Starkle to the driver. The driver, which no name was given, was arrested and held for about 2 weeks. But with no evidence to go on the investigation, he had to be released, and the unknown driver was never identified to the public. The case remains unsolved. If you have any info concerning this case, please call the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department at 323-890-5500.
Case 4. Welcome to Sheridan, California. Missing female. It was on May 24th, 1977, when 21-year-old Kimberly Ann Stewart, a white female, disappeared and vanished without a trace from Sheridan, California. In January 1972, Kimberly, who was only 15 years old and still in school, got married. The couple had 2 daughters. 21-year-old Stewart and her husband separated frequently, and Kimberly twice filed for divorce. She filed once in 1974 and again on April 13th, 1977, which is a little more than a month before the final meeting at Pizza Parlor in Wheatland, California on May 24th, 1977. The husband had met with his 21-year-old wife, Kimberly, to give her some money. Patrons at the restaurant were interviewed by police, and they remembered that the couple had argued and departed shortly after their arrival. The husband told police that he and Kimberly left the restaurant in separate vehicles. That hours later, a member of his family had spotted 21-year-old Stewart's car parked on Highway 65 about 2 miles from Charlotte. When the husband went to that location with his brother, they found Kimberly Stewart's car with the keys still in the ignition, and her checkbook was also found in the vehicle. Friends interviewed by police after 21-year-old Stewart's disappearance that Kimberly would never have left her daughters voluntarily. Sheriff's investigators announced that 21-year-old Kimberly Stewart was likely a victim of foul play. The case remains unsolved. If you have any info concerning this case, please call Placer County Sheriff's Department at 530-889-7800.
Welcome to Colorado. The Doe Network has 37 males and 38 females listed as being missing from the state of Colorado. Case 5. Welcome to Nederland, Colorado. Missing male. It was on July 24th, 1981 is when 18-year-old John Truscott Haynes, a white male, disappeared without a trace from Nederland, Colorado. On July 22nd, 1981, the 18-year-old Haynes arrived in Boulder, Colorado from California. John Truscott Haynes was planning to enroll as a student at the University of Colorado. The 18-year-old Haynes picked up a hitchhiker who was later interviewed by sheriff's detectives. The hitchhiker reported that him and the 18-year-old Haynes spent the first night at the KOA campground in Boulder, Colorado. On July 23, 1981, the 18-year-old Haynes called his father asking for money until the dorms opened. The 18-year-old Haynes told his father he would call him the next day to give him details to where to send the money. The phone call to his father was placed at a 7-Eleven convenience store in Boulder, Colorado. The last phone call the 18-year-old Haynes made was to a friend on July 24, 1981 from a payphone in Nederland, Colorado, in the mountains west of Boulder, Colorado. On July 26, 1981, law enforcement located Haynes' vehicle with its windows down while it was raining. There was no sign of the 18-year-old John Haynes, but nothing else appeared suspicious. So law enforcement left the vehicle where they found it. When the deputy returned a few days later, the car was gone. It still has not been located. John Haynes has been declared legally dead as of March 1983. The case remains unsolved. If you have any info concerning this case, please call the Boulder County Sheriff's Office at 303-441-4444.
Case 6. Welcome to Aurora, Colorado. Missing female. It was on June 8th, 1990, when 24-year-old Lori Renee Lucas, a white female, disappeared and vanished without a trace from Aurora, Colorado. It wasn't until January 8th, 1991, when the 24-year-old Lucas was reported missing to the Aurora Police Department. Lori Lucas's mother, Sandra Lucas, reported her 24-year-old daughter missing over the telephone from Iowa Falls, Iowa. According to the mother, Sandra, she had not heard from the daughter for at least 6 months before the missing person report. 24-year-old Lori Lucas was last seen with William Bannister, a suspected serial killer. Bannister advised law enforcement that the last time he saw Lori Lucas was in September or October of 1990. Bannister stated that Lori left for Texas with a roofer named Mike. Bannister has never been unresponsive to follow-up interview requests. Law enforcement has also been attempting to locate living relatives to obtain DNA reference samples for CODIS entry. This case remains unsolved. If you have any info concerning this case, please call the Aurora Police Department, Major Crime Homicide Unit, Cold Case Fraud at 303-739-6190.
Let's take a pause for the cause, and when we return, Olivia and I will profile 6 more missing person cold cases. Be back in a moment.
I've been searching in the dark, trusting every clue I found. But the truth has not been told, 'cause every corner of these woods is hollow. I can't see in the dark.
Welcome back to our MJ podcast, this series, Deep into the Woods, episode 16, part 4, 12 missing person cold cases. Welcome to South Carolina. The Doe Network has 36 males and 36 females listed as being missing from the state of South Carolina. Case 7. Welcome to Florence, South Carolina. Missing male. It was on September 24th, 1988 is when 21-year-old Brian Neal Hooks, a white male, disappeared without a trace from Florence, South Carolina. Hooks told family members that he and his live-in partner were planning to go to the beach for the weekend, and he would call when he returned home. It has not been confirmed that the 21-year-old Hooks left the area. A cousin of the 21-year-old Hooks saw him at a nightclub, and Hooks was looking for a place to stay overnight because he didn't want to go home. It was also reported the 21-year-old Hooks was scared and thought that his boyfriend was going to hurt him. Family members of Hooks became concerned when he didn't call the next week. This is when Hooks' sister called his house and asked to speak to him, but a roommate said that there was nobody there by that name and hung up on her. The sister called back, and she was told that her brother had run off without telling anybody where he was going. Hooks' family said that Brian and his live-in partner's relationship was troubled. Although Hooks' boyfriend has claimed to know nothing about the 21-year-old Hooks' whereabouts, he is considered a person of interest in the case. Hooks was not known to go for long periods without family contact. After several weeks without hearing from the 21-year-old Hooks, the family contacted police. In 2003, sheriff's investigators received information indicated that Hooks' remains might be buried in an area near Willow Creek Road, which is where he last lived. Investigators searched and dug up the area but found no remains. Foul play is suspected in the disappearance of 21-year-old Brian Neal Hooks. The case remains unsolved. If you have any info concerning this case, please call the Florence County Sheriff's Office at 843-665-2121, extension 434.
Case 8. Welcome to Charleston, South Carolina. Missing female. It was on May 20th, 2005, when 32-year-old Brandy Renee Hannah, a white female, disappeared and vanished without a trace from Charleston, South Carolina. It was around 10 p.m. on May 20th, 2005, when the 32-year-old Hannah was last seen at her apartment complex getting into a red pickup truck being driven by an unknown white male. The 32-year-old Hannah didn't show up for work the following Monday morning. Her mother filed a missing persons report with the North Charleston Police Department. All of Hannah's belongings were left behind. 32-year-old Brandy Hannah has not been seen or heard from since. Brandy Hannah was declared legally deceased on August 26, 2013. 2016, Brandy Hannah's boyfriend, Garland Eugene Langford, was charged with obstruction of justice in Brandy's disappearance. Investigators believe Langford willfully provided false and misleading statements. Investigators believe the 32-year-old Brandy Hannah is the victim of a homicide. The case remains unsolved. If you have any info concerning this case, please call North Charleston Police Department at 843-740-2800.
Welcome to Vermont. The Doe Network has 24 males and 13 females listed as being missing from the state of Vermont. Case 9. Welcome to Brattleboro, Vermont. Missing male. It was on March 10th, 1998 is when 18-year-old Nicholas J. Foster, a white male, disappeared without a trace from Brattleboro, Vermont. Foster was last seen at the lumber mill in Brattleboro, Vermont, where he worked. It was reported that the 18-year-old Foster had been angry and upset and had been asked to leave because of his attitude. Foster was last seen walking away from the lumber mill between 7:30 and 8 a.m. on foot. 10 days later, a man walking his dog found Foster's wallet and other personal papers. These items were found on a railroad track across from the entrance of the Thicket Hill in Hinsdale, New Hampshire, which is about 7 miles south of Brattleboro, Vermont. While conducting a search in the area, the 18-year-old Foster's jacket was found. Police speculated that Foster crossed over the Connecticut River by the way of an abandoned railroad trestle bridge and either jumped or fell into the river. According to Foster's family, the 18-year-old Foster had fallen into a crowd that used hard drugs. Foster's drug addiction had altered his personality dramatically. The 18-year-old Foster had previously entered a rehab, but upon leaving started using again. The case remains unsolved. If you have any info concerning this case, please call the Winchester Police Department at 603-239-4814.
Case 10. Welcome to Burlington, Vermont. Missing female. It was on March 15th, 1976, when 27-year-old Iris Leslie Brown, a white female, disappeared and vanished without a trace from Burlington, Vermont. It was in March of 1976 when the 27-year-old Brown was last seen leaving her apartment with William Posey. Posey had recently been released from a federal prison, and while in prison, Posey met Brown's boyfriend, Martin Gold. Posey told the 27-year-old Brown that her boyfriend Gold was being released early and needed a ride. Iris Brown agreed to go with Posey and left with him later that same day. William Posey was convicted of the kidnapping of 27-year-old Iris Brown in 1981, but not murder. This was because Brown's body has never been found. Although blood looped belonging to Brown was found in Posey's car after her disappearance. The police had no proof of what happened to her or where Brown's body might be. Posey was sentenced to life in prison for the kidnapping of 27-year-old Iris Brown. Posey confessed to the 27-year-old Iris Brown killing in April 2008. Posey, who initially claimed to have driven Brown to Springfield, Massachusetts. Now Posey maintains he never left Vermont and may not have driven much beyond Barry, Vermont, the last place Posey was seen the night Brown disappeared. This case remains unsolved. If you have any info concerning this case, please call the Burlington Police Department at 802-658-2704.
Welcome to West Virginia. The Doe Network has 13 males and 17 females listed as being missing from the state of West Virginia. Case 11. Welcome to Huntington, West Virginia. Missing male. It was on January 17, 1999 is when 23-year-old Jason Scott Atkins, a white male, disappeared without a trace from Huntington, West Virginia. On that day, Jason Atkins was fishing on the Ohio River with his brother when the boat that he was in had engine failure. Around the same time frame, a barge passing by caused a series of large waves in the river where the men were fishing and caused the boat to capsize. One of the brothers made it out of the boat and went to call for help. A search and rescue crews arrived, and they reported it appeared as if someone had exited the water in a certain area, that it was different from where the sole survivor would have left the wreckage. Police asked the Atkins family, was it a possibility that Atkins could have faked his own death because he owed back child support? The 23-year-old Atkins' estranged wife and family do not believe Atkins faked his death that day because he only owed $200 in child support. There was never been any trace of Atkins' body, and if he did perish in the boating accident, the case remains unsolved. If you have any info concerning this case, please call the Huntington Police Department, Lieutenant Jason Young, at 304-696-4470.
Case 12. Welcome to Romney, West Virginia. Missing female. It was on November 4th, 1997, when 24-year-old Lisa Ann Krause, a white female, disappeared and vanished without a trace from Romney, West Virginia. It was in the afternoon hours of November 4th, 1997, when the 24-year-old Krause was last heard from after having a domestic dispute with her boyfriend, David Wayne Holmesback. Whoops. Computer problems again. Hold on.
Okay.
24-year-old Krause reached out to a neighbor for help and vanished shortly thereafter. Lisa Ann Krause has made no contact with anyone since November 4th, 1997. News reports state that the only evidence found in the case was Lisa Krause's hiking boot and a hair feather with her blood on it. Police searched the wooded area behind the Krause's boyfriend's house. Foul play is suspected in the disappearance of 24-year-old Lisa Ann Krause. Case remains unsolved. If you have any info concerning this case, please call the West Virginia State Police, Romney Station, Investigator James Mills, at 304-822-3561.
Olivia, do you have anything you would like to add to any of these cases?
Yeah, I got to ask you something. That one case with the Mormons,
Yes.
she wanted to go with them. I don't want to say this, but I'm going to have to. Aren't they cult-like? And didn't somebody else disappear that was involved with the Mormons?
I'm telling you what, the Mormons is a very strange religion, even down to the Founding Fathers. Matter of fact, a Mormon congregation executed their leader while he was on the pulpit giving a sermon.
Yeah, I thought there was something strange with them.
They're very what I call radical. Yeah, they do have certain teachings, and
wasn't that what was her name? Elizabeth Smart. Wasn't she with the Mormons?
But see, you got to remember, there's different sects of the Mormons, and and you know they're not all bad people, and
no, I'm not saying that.
But so you got to remember the leaders of, let's say, certain churches in that faith. Okay, a lot of them has a lot of radical views. Okay, just like the things about multiple wives and all this. Well, see, to me, that just don't make no sense. And then another thing, okay, years ago, late night, you see these commercials. Well, I seen this commercial, get a Mormon Bible for free. So I said, well, why not? So I got it, and I started reading it. Well, I don't know how they can follow their own religion because there's so many characters in it that you can't keep track on who's who.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like the regular Bible that we're used to.
Right.
And
right.
yeah, like I say,
I didn't know that they have their own Bible.
Yeah, they have their own Mormon Bible. Yes. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. And also, Vermont.
Yes.
Here we go again. I thought there were more missing people than that.
Well, like I said, the way Vermont and New Hampshire is, okay, yes, they have a lot of missing persons for the size of the state, but what they're mostly bogged down is unsolved cases. They have unsolved cases from the 1930s on.
Right.
And matter of fact, I done a podcast. Well,
Burlington is up. Burlington is up by Stowe.
Well,
it's 40 minutes away.
Yeah.
I used to ski in Stowe. And Barry, what's that by? That's not too far from there, I don't think, right?
Yeah,
or is that by Killington?
Yeah, it's called Barry. Matter of fact, we go through Barry when we go up to New Hampshire. So, yeah, and see, that's another one. There was a girl back in the 70s, I believe it was 1974, come up missing in Barry, Vermont. She was on her front yard playing her guitar. And this is Main Street, mind you. And we pass it every time we go up New Hampshire. And one day I pointed it out to Missy. And I said...
one thing about people from New Hampshire and Vermont, they're not in your face people. In other words, like around here, everybody knows everybody's business, or they try to get into your business.
Yeah.
Up there, they kind of keep to themselves. So I think that has, that's why, like the one case, like it more seemed like everybody just turned around at the same time. It's just, that's how those people are. They just, not that they're nasty, they're just, like I said, they're not busybodies. They probably just...
Yeah.
This girl on the porch, they probably looked at her, saw her, and that was it. They don't just sit and stare. Like here, they just sit and stare at you, And they have to know what's going on in the house. But, a lot of craziness.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Good cases, though. Good cases tonight.
Okay. I want to thank Olivia for being on the show tonight. A special thanks to our viewers and listeners for tuning in, for y'all have been so kind. I have a quote for y'all. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. Emily Dickinson. Always remember, folks, that if you ever get bored with nothing to do, well, take a walk deep into the woods. You might be surprised at what you might find. That's the end of our MJ podcast, this series, Deep Into the Woods. This has been episode 16, part 4, 12 Missing Person Cold Cases. We say to all of you, good night from Hudson, Florida, located on the Gulf of Mexico.
All my friends are heathen, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse. Welcome to the rooms of people who have rooms for people that they love one day, docked away. Just because you check the guns at the door doesn't mean the brains will change from hands from there.